Hello cats, welcome back to another episode of Chat About That. I'm your host Bella, and in this episode I'm going to be talking about my COVID vaccine experience and what I think about the new CDC guidelines. Before I chat about that, I just want to say that last week I watched the BB Rexa live stream. It was only $15 for the ticket, and it was really fun. It was about 45 minutes long, and she sang a couple of songs from her new album, Better Mistakes, and she did such an amazing job. I was thinking about doing a whole episode just on her album, but I know I did mention her recently in my Underrated Artists episode, so I decided to talk about the COVID vaccine updates and how I was feeling during my vaccine. So I wanted to focus a little bit more on that. But I really enjoy her new album. I think it's really good. It's a mix of pop and I would say rock as well. And she features a couple of different artists on it, and I just think her voice sounds absolutely incredible. The vibe is a little bit different than her original album, which I think is good. I don't think that artists should stick to one genre or one specific type of music for their whole career. I think it's it shows more variety, and it shows just growth when an artist can dip into different genres and play with more different instruments and just see how their voice can sound with different songs and different melodies. And I think that's what she did on this album. It's really, really amazing. Please, if you haven't listened to it, check out BB Rexa's album Better Mistakes, and I think you'll really enjoy it. I don't anticipate this episode to be incredibly long, but I wanted to talk about my experience with the COVID vaccine because everybody has a different experience, and just talk about, my feelings on the new COVID restrictions and what the CDC has been talking about. And I just really think that that's important to chat about. And one more thing before I actually get into that, I know the other day, I'm recording this on May 26th. The other day was the 1-year anniversary of the death of George Floyd. And even though the cop that was involved in his death, was convicted, that still isn't 100% justice. There's still so much that needs to happen, not just for that case, but for the cases of so many other Black lives that have been lost, not just last year, just in general. There's so much more justice that needs to be happening, and there's just a lot more that us as a society can do, us as a government can do. And that was such a big step with the cop being convicted, but there's more that can happen. So I wanted to mention that before I really dive into this episode. So that's pretty much all I have for an update for you guys. There's a couple of other things that I'm doing in my personal life that I want to talk about, but I think I'll save all of those fun things for a future episode once I have more things to talk about. It's just, one or two little things that I did here and there, but I kind of want to do a whole episode on things that I've been doing or what I'm going to plan on doing in the summer. So stay tuned for some more updates. Also, if you want to follow me and see, what I'm doing, I do have an Instagram and a TikTok. Both of my handles are That Little Italian. Please check out the links in the episode description to find my Instagram and TikTok, and as well as Twitter. I post all of the updates on my episodes and more links to where you can find my podcast. So please check me out over there. So getting into the main part of this episode, I really wanted to talk about my COVID vaccine experience because everyone's experiences are different. I know a couple people that I work with who had their vaccine, and both vaccines wiped them out. They were completely sick. They weren't able to work. They had to pretty much just be in bed all day. I know some other people who just had a headache or were just tired. And I know some people who had no side effects whatsoever from the vaccine. So I wanted to talk about my experience. So when I got my first vaccine, I did get the Moderna vaccine. When I first got it, I actually went to my primary care doctor's building because I, wasn't somebody who was able to get the vaccine, before it was available to the general public. So I didn't go to, a drive-in area or go to the grocery store or anything like that. I actually went to my primary care clinic. And so getting there, easy. I know where the place is. All I had to do was just wait for a few minutes, had to show them my insurance, and I did a bunch of pre-check-ins online, actually through this app that my primary care uses. It was super easy. I just got this email, went into the app, logged in, and scheduled an appointment. It was super easy. So when I got in, this is for the first vaccine, when I got in, the nurse nurse walked me in and we went into a check-in room, and she just told me, this is the vaccine that you're getting the Moderna. Gave me a packet of information from the CDC about the vaccines, and also a text messaging service that you can sign up for to get updates from the CDC every day, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And then she left the room, came back with the vaccine. We were just chatting. She stuck my arm, and it was over in like 2 seconds, and it was really not painful at all. I am someone who has a pretty high pain tolerance, so I didn't think that the shot hurt. It just, felt like a little prick. But I know some people who hate shots. My sister, when she was a kid, absolutely hated them. She had to have like doctors come in to like calm her down when she was getting shots, but she's better now, obviously. But I never had issues with shots, so I didn't think that it hurt that much. Again, have a high pain tolerance. The first vaccine was totally fine. When I left, I was able to work. I didn't feel sick at all. I just took a couple of Tylenol and Advil throughout the day and drank tons of water, and I felt, totally fine. And then with the CDC text messaging, like I just mentioned, there was an option, and I'm not sure if this is like for everybody who gets their vaccine or if it was just like for my area. I'm sure it's probably, most people were given this packet, but my packet I was given, there was a number that you could text and you could sign up for alerts. So every single day, I think it's like 2 weeks from when you get your vaccine, like 2 weeks out, you get text messages from the CDC, and basically it prompts you to go on to this website that you take this little like quiz, and it tells you, how are you feeling, and were you able to work today? How was the injection site, looking, or did you have any swelling and things like that? So I've been getting those messages, and I've been taking those like quizzes, I like to call it, every day, and it basically is just alerting the CDC of how you are feeling after the vaccine. And I think that it was really a good idea for them to have this automated system so that they could get a large group of people to respond and talk about their experience with the vaccine. I think it's a really cool idea. So I wanted to be a part of that group who was sharing this information with the CDC. So that was the experience I had with the first dose. Really no side effects. Nobody else in my family had side effects. My parents had the Pfizer, and my sister also had the Moderna vaccine, and we all really had similar symptoms with the first vaccine injection. And yeah, I wasn't really affected at all by the first one. And most people that I talked to, other than those couple people that I worked with, didn't really have any experiences with the first vaccine, but we'll get into the second dose right now. So like I mentioned earlier, a couple people from my work were talking about their experience with the vaccine, and a few people were completely knocked out from the second vaccine. Like they were sick, they had fevers, they couldn't get out of bed, they had chills, they, just felt so horribly sick after they got their second vaccine. And those people, had all different types of the vaccines. Some of them had Moderna, some of them had Pfizer, and some of them had Johnson & Johnson. So I, going into my second vaccine, wasn't worried, but I was a little bit nervous because my one coworker told me that he got the Moderna, and him and his girlfriend were completely out for like 3 days. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, am I going to have all these symptoms? But nobody really in my family had that bad of side effects from the second shot. My sister just felt like a little headachy, and I think my mom and my dad were just a little tired. So I wasn't super worried because most of the people I talked to also said that their whole immediate family had the similar symptoms. So I do think that the side effects are genetic, and if your parents didn't have that bad of a side effect, I don't think you're going to. And it seemed like the side effects from each of the different vaccines, it didn't seem like people who got like Pfizer were more susceptible to having headaches or being tired than people who got Moderna or Johnson & Johnson. So I think it really goes back to the genetics and how certain people react to vaccines. So with my second vaccine, it was pretty much the same process. Nurse took me into the room, gave me the packet, told me that I was going to be probably affected a little bit differently by the vaccine, and then got the shot, gave me the shot, and it was all good. I also forgot to mention that I did have to wait 15 minutes after both shots just to make sure I didn't have any immediate side effects, because some people, are prone to fainting or having fevers like right away. So at least where I was, they had you wait 15 minutes. I know my parents, my sister also had to wait 15 minutes as well. The first shot I got actually, I got it at 8 a.m. and then my second shot I got at 8:15 in the morning. So in the doctor's office, I was totally fine. Like I didn't feel sick at all. beautiful. Went back home, was working. Around noon, again, this is talking about the second vaccine. Around noon, I started feeling like really tired. Not like I needed to go to sleep right then, but I just started getting really like exhausted. And I have a job where I work on a computer for 8 hours a day. And so luckily I'm sitting down. I didn't have to really travel other than, getting back to my apartment. But I just felt really tired. And I just felt like if I turned off all the lights and had a nice warm blanket on me, I would have fallen asleep at the computer. And then, I was, messaging my boss and everything and just saying, hey, can I log off a little early today? I'm feeling really tired. And they were like, yes, please take your time. So I ended up, I normally work 8 to 4, but I ended up logging off at 2 o'clock because by noon, I was just really tired and I was like, okay, I only have like 2 hours left in me. And then I was messaging my coworkers that day and one of them told me that sugar can help with these side effects. And again, I took Tylenol and everything right when I got home. I was drinking plenty of water, but one of my coworkers said, have some sugar. And the only sugar I had in my house is hot chocolate because I don't really buy candy or sugar or anything. So I drank a cup of hot chocolate around noon and that kind of helped me for like about an hour. And then by, 1 o'clock, I was starting to feel really tired again and definitely could have fallen asleep right then and there. And by 2 o'clock when I logged off, I was so exhausted. I went and laid in bed and just like had my phone and was watching some YouTube, but I ended up falling asleep. I also felt, I don't know how to describe it really. It wasn't really dizziness, but I just felt like when I stood up, I felt like kind of off balance. And I don't know if that's a side effect of the vaccine or if that was some sort of reaction that the vaccine might have been having with my medication, because I do take a medication every day. And when I don't take my medication for like 2 or 3 days in a row, if I'm running out or I, forget or I go somewhere and I forget to bring it with me, I kind of feel that same sense where it's not really dizziness, but it's just, when you're not moving or when you stand up, you just don't really feel all on balance and it's just, I guess it's sort of dizziness, but it's not, it's a little bit different than being dizzy. And I don't really know how to describe it without you actually like feeling that way, but I felt that same way after I had the vaccine. So again, I don't know if that is actually a side effect. I told my mom that I was feeling like that and she didn't know if that was a side effect either. So again, that could have been a side effect, or it could have just been a reaction with my medication. I am going to make a doctor's appointment to get another refill for my medication. So when I do that, I'll talk to my doctor about that because I was looking up some side effects and everything of the vaccine. And that was on what I read like maybe 1 or 2 sites of information. And both of those sites said that it was like a really bad reaction was dizziness. So I'm not sure. But other than that day, I didn't feel like bad at all. Like the next day I was completely fine and I haven't felt sick or anything like that since the first day. So I think I was really only affected that first day. And, my mom said she felt very tired as well. My sister, she had a bit of a headache and I think she was tired too. And, my boyfriend had a headache as well. So I think feeling tired is probably a good symptom to have. And yeah, I felt fine since then. I'm really glad and really grateful that I was able to get the vaccine. If you haven't been vaccinated and you're eligible, please get vaccinated. And I know that, everybody in America over the age of 12 is able to get their vaccine. So please get the vaccine. There are plenty of places online that you can register. There's a number that you can actually text and it will tell you, in your area where you're able to get the vaccine. And I'm just really grateful that the Biden administration has made it so easy for us to get vaccines. I want to take a little bit of time to talk about the new CDC guidelines and how I feel about them. So if you're not aware, the CDC announced recently that if you are 100% vaccinated, you do not have to wear a mask indoors or outdoors. Now, a while ago, they announced that if you were fully vaccinated, you didn't have to wear it outside, but now they're saying you don't have to wear it inside either. I don't know how I feel about this, because as of now, there are no laws saying that you have to show proof of vaccination to enter public spaces, to enter businesses, to fly. There's no proof of vaccination right now. So what's to stop somebody who does not want to be vaccinated and refuses to be vaccinated from saying that they have received the shot and not wear a mask and put other people at risk? What's to stop people from doing that? There's nothing. There's nothing stopping people from doing that unless businesses require proof of vaccination for entry. Because if I was somebody who didn't want to be vaccinated, who didn't believe in vaccinations, or, whatever other reasons, this is not the podcast to talk about that kind of mindset, but if I was somebody who, didn't want to get vaccinated, what's to stop me from saying, oh, I've been vaccinated, so I'm not wearing a mask, or, entering a public space or entering the metro or a plane and saying, oh, I was vaccinated, so I don't have to wear a mask, but in reality, I wasn't vaccinated. I think that the CDC saying that without having any sort of proof of vaccination requirement is really dangerous, because there are a lot of people who don't believe in vaccines, who refuse to be vaccinated, who are not going to allow their underage kids to be vaccinated. And they're not only putting themselves and their family at risk, but they're putting other people at risk by not wearing a mask. So I don't know how I feel about that. I think in general, it makes sense for people who have been vaccinated to not have to wear masks, but it's just, I think it's gonna cause more people to be sick. And, I personally, when I go outside and I'm not within a crowd of people, I don't wear my mask. My boyfriend and I the other week, this was after we were fully vaccinated. We went to a little this mall near where I live has, a bunch of restaurants and shops and stuff. And a few weeks ago, they were doing this little outdoor, kind of festival where a bunch of restaurants were giving away free samples. And it was just kind of like a promotion for the businesses there. And it was all outside, it's a big outdoor mall, outdoor restaurant area, and you can go inside and outside. But most of the little vendors and free samples and stuff were outside. We both wore our masks while we were there because even though we were outside, there were a lot of people there, and we didn't feel comfortable not having our masks on around a big crowd of people. But, when we were sitting down to eat ice cream or eat our little free samples, we took our masks off, obviously, because you can't, drink a free cup of sangria or a free cup of margarita with your mask on. That's just not how it works. So that was a situation where obviously I was outside, but I was surrounded by a bunch of people. Now, I did go to, again, after I was fully vaccinated, I did go to a little get-together with my friends for my friend's birthday, and it was under 10 people, and we were outside at a park the entire time. There was nobody else that we didn't know, around us. It was just, the group was about 10 people. Everyone at the get-together was vaccinated, and we were outside, so none of us were wearing masks. Again, we were drinking, eating, having fun, so we didn't feel that it was necessary for us to wear masks in that instance. But when I go inside of stores, I wear my mask. There's no proof of vaccination again, and I just don't feel comfortable when I'm inside or around a big group of people. I'm not sure entirely how airports are working because I haven't flown in a very long time, probably since 2019, I think was the last time I flew. So I think airports are still requiring masks. I'm not sure if they're requiring proof of ID. I'm going to be going to New York in July, and I know that the train stations have said that if you're vaccinated or not, you still have to wear a mask on the train. So I feel like the CDC releasing that information is I feel like it was too early. I think that would be okay for them to release if there was proof of vaccination, because I don't know if Joe Schmo standing next to me at the grocery store is vaccinated or not. If he's not wearing a mask, there's no proof. So until there's a proof of vaccination and that's a law, I'm going to continue to wear my mask in public when there are people around. Now, being outside, that's a little bit of a different story. When I go for my walks and I'm walking past somebody maybe every couple of minutes, or not even a couple minutes, just every now and then I'm walking past somebody when I'm outside, I don't feel like I need to wear my mask. But obviously if I'm going to the grocery store or going to the mall or doing things inside, definitely wearing my mask. I wanted to mention one more thing before I wrap up this episode. I know it was a bit short, but President Biden and Dr. Anthony Fauci released a video this week where they spoke to a couple of different YouTubers about the vaccine. And I actually follow everyone that they spoke to. They spoke to Jackie Aina, Manny MUA, and Coyote and Mark from Brave Wilderness. And it was just really cool to see them interact with people that I follow and have them them, ask them some questions about the vaccine and just spread awareness of getting vaccinated. I thought it was really, really cool. So I'll leave a link to that in the episode description if you want to check out that video. It's not very long, and it's really cool to see YouTubers get to talk to the president. It was really, really cool. Wish I could talk to President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, but I'm not an influencer yet, I guess. So don't know if I'll have my chance, but I never know. You never know. I do live in the DC area, so maybe I'd see them out one day. I don't know. So that's it for this episode. I really just wanted to talk about my vaccine experience and just really reiterate that getting your vaccine is really important. It not only protects you, but it protects other people. Same thing with wearing your mask. Even if you're vaccinated, wearing your mask still protects you from the other people who have not been vaccinated or other people who don't want to be vaccinated. And it protects other people from getting the disease if you haven't been vaccinated. Even if you have been vaccinated, vaccines are not 100% effective. They are, a shield, but they're not, a force field. I guess that's what I'll say. They protect you, but they're not like completely surrounding your body and completely going to protect you from the vaccine. But that does not mean that you shouldn't be getting one. It's just a precaution, and everybody should be getting vaccinated. Everyone should still wear their masks. Besides what my opinions are about wearing them outside, I think wearing them is still good. It's still going to keep you safe, and still wash your hands. Please still wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Just be as safe as you can. And if you got your vaccine, how did you feel afterwards? If you haven't gotten your vaccine yet, have you signed up to get one? And I really hope that everyone listening to this is safe, and I'm really ready for the world to go back to normal. I don't think that we'll ever be 100% the same way that we were before. I think that we will probably still wear masks in public areas. I think that we'll still have, hopefully still have hand sanitizer available for everybody. And I just hope that people are continuing after the pandemic is completely over to still be cautious about their health and still wash their hands, still wear masks in public spaces, and just to continue to be really cautious about health. So that's everything I wanted to talk about this episode. As always, stay safe, stay classy, and I will chat again with you soon. Goodbye.